pleasure indeed.
Okay. Welcome to Anxious Black Belt. Thank you to Sensei Raj Soren coming on and sharing his experience and talking about his book. Our camera picked it up, which is available on Amazon. I've been fortunate and honored to contribute a little small piece into it amongst so many great martial artists. How are you, sir, today?
I'm excellent, thank you. Thanks for asking. And yes, there's a number of excellent martial artists in the book, Black Belt Mindset for Life and Business. And we're very privileged to have you on board and for sharing your story within one of the chapters in karate.
It was my pleasure. Could you tell us, because conversation with you, I know that you're not only doing Aikido, but you're doing a variety of different arts. Can you tell us your kind of background in martial arts and what you do?
Yes, I've been involved with martial arts for over 40 years now. I started in traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu as part of the Jiu-Jitsu Foundation, which has mainly lots of different clubs in universities and across towns and cities across the UK. And I started in Manchester some 40 years ago, uh, looking at as a student and looking at different martial arts. And I got involved with this Japanese Jiu-Jitsu in terms of the Jiu-Jitsu Foundation. And I progressed through the different ranks. So I'm currently at sixth dan in this particular style of Jiu-Jitsu. And I run a club in Bradford, and both in Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido. And with Aikido, I've been involved with that for 15 years now. It's Iwama style, Takemushi Iwama style Aikido with Sensei Tony Sargent, seventh dan head of that organization. And over the years, I've been involved with different martial arts, something called HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. So involves things like saber, longsword, poleaxe, short sword. So I've competed in that as well. But in the last 2.5 years, I'm getting more involved with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with an organization in Bradford called Dream Arts with Professor Craig Tetley, who's an excellent instructor there. And I'm also competing now at the age of 60. So I won a couple of medals and won gold. And so it's really great to be involved with different martial arts, to learn from different instructors. I think you always need to keep your glass half empty. So you're always learning from different skills, different set of instructors, different stories and histories. So that's a bit about me and my martial art journey.
Mm. So how did you get involved in HEMA? Because HEMA is very interesting from a point of view, for me, from a point of view of karate, because in HEMA, everything pretty much is a reconstruction, a historical reconstruction, which in karate with the bunka is an application for a kata we are playing as well. How did you get involved in that?
Well, one of my Aikido instructors, Sensei Alex Gent, he did a bit of HEMA as well. And we started going to one of the local clubs in Bradford, and we had a fantastic time because you have to have all the different gear on in terms of your helmet, stab vest, also jacket and trousers, and that and special gloves to make sure you don't injure yourself. So you can literally go 100 miles per hour and start stabbing and hit each other. But there are obviously rules, and there's a club called Tree of Shields. They're based in Silsden in Bradford. So it's a great bunch of guys that run the organisation up there.
Cool.
And so I started,
Go on, go on.
yeah, so I started applying some of the skills I learned from martial arts in terms of foot movement, because the foot movement is quite generic across sports and martial arts. So that helped me early on in terms of distance. So getting the right distance right for attacking and moving offline. So that's sort of how I got involved with it. I don't have as much time with it at the moment, but yes, it's a great opportunity for people to start learning some of the skills from ancient times and historically through the use of weapons.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how is that, because HEMA looks Polish teams are quite strong in it, so I kind of watch from time to time. But their competition are mad. The amount of force they're using against each other is kind of like real fighting. So I was wondering how much the transfer from Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu, you see what been the changes when you started applying the HEMA attacks and stuff like that? Is there a benefit for you from Jiu-Jitsu versus the kind of European arts? How does that play together?
Yeah, in both the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido, it does have benefits because you use wooden weapons with Ken and Joe, so
Mhm.
you get used to striking and creating distance. And it's all about timing and movement. And same in any martial arts that you do. If you get to you're working with an uki or an opponent, you have to understand how they move versus how you move and how you get off line to defend and attack at the same time. And in most traditional martial arts, for example, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's obviously rules. There's certain things you can and can't do
Mhm.
to keep, it's just refereed. Japanese Jiu-Jitsu in the street, obviously no rules, but we need to still have a safe environment. It can be quite aggressive, but that's why you have the armor
Mhm.
in place. So you can translate some of the knowledge you've learned from the different martial arts like Jiu-Jitsu. Certain strikes you can do. They're limited to certain strikes you can do as well as in HEMA. You're mainly meant to use different weapons and stabbing and different points for striking either the head or the arms or the wrists or the legs, things like that.
Mhm. And how you said that you started BJJ 2.5 years ago. That means you've been well over 50. How your body to take that? Because I'm over 40 and I started doing BJJ year ago, and it's a hard work. It's a hard work. How did you cope in that, and why did you decided to go into BJJ?
Yeah, I started at the age of 58, so that's quite late to start, especially Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Uh, but there's so many skills you can learn from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because there's a lot of resistance in that game,
Hmm.
and you're fighting talented individuals who have certain skills in terms of locking and choking. And in most traditional martial arts, sometimes you can't always apply some of those principles. But in a competitive environment, under proper guidance and rules, I really enjoyed that because it keeps you fit, it keeps you healthy, it keeps you competitive, and it's a mindset. It's more difficult when you're starting at this age, but if you keep relatively fit over time, then it's easier to maintain that. And if I'm trying to be a role model, especially from my book, Black Belt Mindset for Life and Business, it's using that same mindset to compete and learn a new skill. You could say, "Oh, I'm a sixth dan in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, then I've reached my pinnacle. I don't need to learn anymore." But every 5 to 10 years, I try to learn a new skill, a new martial arts, and hence the Aikido, the HEMA, and more recently Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So yeah, prepared to take on a lot of knocks, a lot of bruises, a lot of aches, and that you're going to get through that to learn. And what about yourself? You said you started recently in Brazilian as well.
Yeah, so I started 10 years ago, but my ego was big and the other person's ego was big, and they overextended my arm. At the time, I was doing massaging, so I gave up, and 10 years later, I'm back to it with different mindset, with ego put aside, so I don't need to prove to anybody anything, and I'm tapping very quickly and very early, and I'm very eager to kind of keep myself without injuries. And yeah, but it is a very taxing for body activity, fitness wise, very good as well. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm very fortunate that I've got a really good team. I think that part of it is to have find a very nice group of people, and that they don't want to destroy me, and they understand that I'm an kind of not a super young player, so I can't do as fast and as well as they can do. But how did you going into BJJ protected yourself from the injuries? Did you had like a protocol, or what you do? You tap early or something like that?
Yeah, I think if you, I agree with you. You have to find a good quality club with decent instructors there, and mutual respect. Um, you have the ability to tap early. Uh, you should put your egos to side. Even though I've got black belts and other styles of martial arts, I'm getting tapped out by a lot younger and more able individuals who are not as high grade in other martial arts, but they're skilled at this particular BJJ.
Mhm.
So be prepared to tap early. Make sure you do a lot of stretching before and after, and for
Mhm.
recovery. I have a chiropractor as well, so they look after me to make sure I get the right treatment. Or you have someone who can do some form of massage. Keep hydrated and keep limber. Able to be flexible. Really, I'm not that flexible generally, but you sort of learn that over time. Even in good clubs, you're going to get some people come along with big egos and they want to try and hurt people. So you're just going to be wary of that. Try and avoid those people, or mention it to the instructor, to the professor who's teaching, and that way, at least maybe only roll with the people you can trust.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, you mentioned the hydration. I discovered that it's so important in BJJ. It's so much more important than in karate. I think because the involvement or all the muscles in karate is a little bit different. In on the ground, you have to use everything to move yourself around. And I found it that I had a lots of cramps, especially in my feet, using my not feet but legs in general, like hamstrings, calves, and feet. And started regularly drinking every day the electrolytes and stuff, and that helped a lot. You don't if you don't go through it, you don't realize how important it is.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, definitely having electrolytes and that hydration is part of the regime of staying healthy. And otherwise, cramp does uh, sort of come along. You got to be careful of that. But having a regular routine, having the right mindset of both your physical and your mental health is very important. And your experience in the mental health field has been quite vast, and appreciate the type of work you're doing out there for individuals.
Thank you very much. Speaking of mental health, how do you think the martial arts impacted you over the years with your mental health?
It's a good question. Mental health and martial arts they sort of go in hand with my lifestyle. I've used it to de-stress and get the cardio going, the exercise, and the ability to perform under pressure. At the same time, it can create stress as well when you're going for gradings,
Mm,
and sometimes you can do overtrain, and it has a stress on your body and your mind. So if you're competing a lot and not getting much rest, then that can have an impact. But there's great camaraderie when you're training with other people that you respect and they respect each other. That support system in place for teaching, that friendship, whether you go out for socials and after competitions, during training, go for a drink with the team. All these things are a part of the family that helps you support in both sporting and in martial art perspective. And you can probably confide in people that you may not confide in at home,
mm,
but you have a different set of friends and support system within martial arts because they understand you because they understand your journey. They
mm,
understand the knocks that you may have had and the challenges. At the same time, there is, depending on the different martial arts, there can be a lot of egos and power crazy individuals that can impact other people's progression or slow people down in their development. So you could be wary of those individuals. They can have sort of a bit more controlling on people's development. What's your thoughts on that?
yeah, so I often speak to people and they say, "Oh, what do you mean that karate is a super beneficial for a individual or mental health?" And I'm keep saying that, it's not just karate. It's any activity you want to do, but within a group of people who are non-judgmental and supportive. You can have the most karate experiences, but if the coaches are a bad human beings, your mental health gonna be worsening. So, although because I'm promoting, in a way, I'm promoting the karate for mental health, but what I'm really promoting is a good coaches helping people through the tool of karate or any other martial arts, right? Aikido is super beneficial. My father-in-law is first done in Aikido. He's got a disability. He can't use his arm due to the accident. He absolutely loves it. Now he moved into karate as well, and he's thriving in it because he's been having a fantastic support through open-minded coaches, right? It's like with any activity, it can be positive or negative, but that support group, I think, is the key to positive experiences. And more positive experiences you've got, the more you want to do it, and the better you feel.
I totally agree with you in having great memories to cherish, being around positive individuals that are supportive, and having any form of exercise. Breathing is vitally important. Breathing in the right way.
Mm.
People tend to do shallow breathing rather than deep, um, using a diaphragm breathing. Doing mindfulness exercises in terms of focus. That's a great way of trying to escape from the rest of the world. Once you're in the dojo, training room, you're in an environment to learn and develop and thrive, to be tested as well. You may have your worries and stresses outside due to work, due to business, due to family relationships, money, all these other challenges you may be facing. But once you're in the dojo and in that environment, it can be very calming. It can be exhilarating, and that combination uh, will help people's mental health if they're prepared to immerse themselves in that experience.
Yeah,
Sometimes
for
you can
sure.
bring your worries onto the mat. You should leave the worries outside the mat and just focus on training and the friendships that you have within your local dojo.
Mm. Yeah, it is a good therapy in a way because whatever you're bringing on the mat in your head, it doesn't stay there for very long. If you, for example, sparring or people try to choke you out, you need to focus on that one activity and everything else fading away and give you that respite when you've got the time to kind of refocus, and then you've got a little bit different perspective on things happening because you just survived that somebody tried to kill you in a bracket, right?
Yeah,
Choke you out or tap you
that's
or
right.
punch you in the face. So
Yeah, you're not worried about your money issues or your relationships or all the other problems you've got when you're trying to survive and when someone's trying to choke you. Yeah, so
exactly.
I totally agree. Um, the, and being an instructor like yourself and coach, it's a vitally important position
Mm.
because um, you're there to guide individuals, both adults and children as well. If you teach children, so you play a pivotal role in their development and giving them the right sort of guidance environment to thrive and learn. And sometimes everyone learns in a different way, don't they? You can't all
Exactly, yeah.
learn at the same speed. There's individuals
Mm.
who are neurodiverse as well, and the neurodiverse individuals may need extra support and special way of teaching and listening to their needs. But it's great reward to see them develop and anyone progress through that. The belts. It's not just about the belt; it's about personal development of both your body and your mind.
Mm. For sure. You as well, from my understanding, you are a business coach and you got a coaching consultancy. Um, did you take, did you learn anything from your martial arts that you could transfer to your business and the other way around? What was the impact and kind of relationship between coaching martial arts and coaching people in business?
Yeah, yeah, coaching people is transferable skills, whether it's in martial arts, business, or any other environment. I was in a coaching environment as a life coach for 20 years. I was a training manager for a major pharmaceutical company, and those as well as managing a team of people. So you learn those skills through business and through life coaching and through martial arts, both as a student and as a coach. You acquire these skills of encouragement, of listening skills and understanding. of helping people to identify their gaps, at the same time supporting their areas where they're very highly skilled. So transferring some of those skills from the black belt mindset into life in business, in terms of focus, in terms of the ability to goal set, having particular targets. In martial arts, you'll have a certain target to learn a kata, or a certain number of moves, or certain defenses and punches and kicks. In life and in business, you'll have certain challenges to face. You may have competitors in your space. So how do you understand the competitor? How do you make sure you're prepared? So goal setting, preparation, planning, all part of physical and mental health in martial arts. But at the same time, the focus aspect of it is very important for business as well. So there's plenty of skills that you can transfer over into life in business, because those skills are universal. And I've utilized a black belt mindset, not just from my own ideas, but from other skilled martial artists from around the world as well. And there were individuals in the book that shared their ideas about the challenges they've overcome, because those personal challenges make you resilient. Because to be successful in both martial arts and in business, you have to have that resilience. You have to have adaptability and flexibility. And these are the skills that come from martial arts as well.
Mhm. Was it difficult to get everybody on board to your book and put it all together? Where the idea came from it as well?
Well, I've written other books on coping with stress and adversity, and I interviewed a number of different people from around the world, from business owners to doctors to people in the army, nurses, all different people from around the world, how they cope with stress. So, and I put my own story on there about my own personal burnout. So that helped me create this next book that is the Black Belt Mindset. So thinking, how can I share to the world my experience and mindset? But more importantly, how can I get other people on board? So I went to different organizations, Kaiser, they organize lots of different events, um, as well as the Festive of Martial Arts as well. So individuals like Matt Staten and they are active in this environment. So I started reaching out to people who I met and had friendships with over years, and new people like yourself and others who I thought, I reach out to yourselves. I think you've got a story to share. I think you'll make it a great addition to the book in terms of your mindset and your values. It took about 2 years to get people on board, writing, getting their input, getting photographs, and working with um, an individual who runs Simone, who runs the Iran Publishing Network.
Mhm.
So they've already published lots of different martial art books. So really appreciate his input as well. And who they published the book and made it available on Amazon as well as their own website. I think once you send out a message to the world that you want other people on board with the right mindset, then it attracts the right individuals on board. So I'm very happy and honoured to be part of the development of this book. I did reach out to other individuals. Unfortunately, a lot of them were quite busy. Promised to send stories, but hadn't managed to get it to me. So I can only share the stories I've received. The rest of the stories out there. I'm sure there'll be another series of books I can do with additional stories.
Mm.
And it takes a resilience focus as well to develop any book. So if anyone is writing a book, stay focused, believe in your project, and you'll meet the right people and get the work done.
Yeah, it's easy and it's hard in the same time because it's just writing or reaching out to people, but to get it actually done, it takes an effort. I'm not a like a professional author, so I write, but people ask me often, "Oh, how do you write?" And my recipe for it is I write when I feel like it. If I've got 15 minutes a day, write something and then try to work it over later and later and later. And sometimes, like for last couple of months, I haven't touched anything. And last Wednesday, I spent 5 hours writing because it just felt like it. So I try to not force myself into it. How do you write? Do you write in you got like a prescribed time, or you just go with the flow wherever you feel like it?
Yeah, I mean, it tends to vary with different projects I've written. I wrote a book on Little Pocket of Confidence, the 10 Golden Steps, and I got through that quite quickly in terms of developing that book. But it's because I set myself a certain number of hours per week. I was working a full-time career, so I'd either do early morning or late evening, a couple of hours of writing. And if I struggled, I'd write a small amount, can come back to it the next day and sort of review it. And it's having that focus to say, right, in 6 months' time or 3 months' time, I want to have written this amount of work. Doesn't matter if there's mistakes. You don't have to organize it all. Some people sometimes have to say, oh, it needs to be perfect before I get anything started. Just make a start. Put pen to paper. Don't worry about what people think of you. Just write. And then decide on the theme, overall broad idea, your the subject matter, who you're reaching out to, what's your audience, and what message you're trying to get out to the world. And think about, if you're the reader, what would you like to learn on this topic, on this book? What's going to inspire you? Now, people are interested in stories, hence I've always involved stories in a lot of my books from from different parts of the world. Everyone's got a different story to tell because we all walk a different path in life, and so we all have a book in us. I struggled at my early schooling. I'd failed a lot of my exams. I even failed my English 3 times. So it just shows you that you can go to university, you can get a degree, you can get a master's. I've got a master's in business as well, and you can start writing books, even though you might have struggled in your early life. There's lots of people out there to help you to get a project like this done. You may not always want to write a book, but you can share stories online like you are doing with podcasts. You can get someone else to write the book for you. You can just speak to them about the ideas, and you have a ghostwriter. So there's always a way out there. I know a lot of writing coaches out there, so you can always reach out to me if you're struggling, and I can put you in the right direction. But importantly, be passionate about it. Be consistent, and come back to it. Sometimes you have days and weeks go by, you don't have any inspirational ideas, and you have all the problems on top of you outside the book, maybe outside martial arts, that you have to deal with. Take your time sometimes. Other times you have to get publishers on your back that want a certain amount of information for a certain period of time. You have to work to those deadlines as well.
Yes, sometimes a good push is a good push, yeah. If somebody is chasing you, you have to do it. You have to do it. It gives you that motivation to fulfill your obligations. And I like to do that. I announce something that I'm working on. If I announce it publicly, then I've got that motivation to actually do it. If I just keep it to myself, I'm not I'm not that pushed to do it. I need that kind of. Oh, I said to people, I
Yeah.
promised I'm gonna do it.
Well, exactly. Sometimes you're going to struggle because one of the times I was writing the book on coping with stress and adversity, and near the end of writing the book, I had COVID and I was out of action for 3 to 6 months. At death's door, struggling. So that nearly stopped me. So I did a chapter on COVID in the book about, and got stories from different people around the world at how it impacted their lives, their businesses. So that experience changed my book. So there's a chapter on dealing with COVID and the struggles that they went through. And some people didn't make it through COVID. At times with the black belt mindset, I was thinking, well, am I going to be able to do this book? Is it going to sell? Is anyone be interested? So you have those questions in your mind. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, I haven't got time to finish or develop this book any further. But then again, it tests your black belt mindset to
Mm-hmm.
get back on the get back in the dojo, get back on the writing uh, side of things. So everyone's going to get personal challenges. It's not easy writing, but it's not. Then life is a challenge. Every day we're faced with different challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I got made redundant 4 times at work, so they're the challenges that you face you. But it's the resilience of how you bounce back. I think there's a Japanese or a Chinese proverb that says you get knocked down 6 times, get up 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so these are the different things that test your life's ability to come back, uh, no matter what your challenges. And in this, the black belt mindset is fantastic, inspirational stories from individuals who've gone through difficult health challenges, personal tragedies, but they've sort of championed their own life to succeed.
It's very, very interesting. More I'm reading the stories, the more appreciations I've got for a certain individuals who I know, but you don't always know the backstory. You see their kind of face on social media, and you don't know really the backstory. And it's kind of really good to read book like yours, um, and have that insight, and you get the different appreciation and a little bit different angle than you have it from the social media.
Yeah, I totally agree. The individuals that you see on social media and or at courses that you attend, you don't realize that the battle and the challenges they've had to get there. So
Mm,
it becomes more relatable when you get to understand their back history and the story and the challenges they've faced, and it's very humbling as well.
definitely. Going back to martial arts, do you have a favorite one? Which you're doing so many. Is the one that kind of sits in your heart, that you always come back to?
Yeah, well, the Japanese jiu-jitsu, uh, traditional jiu-jitsu, has been with me for 40 years, so that's very close to my heart. Part of the Jiu-Jitsu Foundation with seeing instructors throughout the UK at both universities in towns and cities across the globe as well. So I've got a lot of friendships where I go and teach in places like Argentina, Vienna, Canada, South Africa, a place like that, and there's lots of great friends you've developed as a result of Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. So that's very close to my heart, and obviously Kido from the weapon side of things, and the friendships I've made there through the instructors, and I've traveled to Russia as well. I did my brown belt grading in Russia in Aikido, and one of the first things I was asked to do is to teach a juniors class, and the juniors didn't speak Russian. The juniors didn't speak English, and I
English.
didn't speak Russian, but we managed to have fun and still teach a class. And HEMA is great for obviously in terms of competitive nature and the physical aspects of striking hard. More recently, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is close to my heart because it's great for me as a 6-year-old still be able to compete and win medals and trophies and support my mental health through it
Mm.
and make new friendships in a competitive environment. That keeps me alive as well in terms of mindset. So I'm writing books on mindset. I got to
Mhm.
live it as well.
Did you had any worries going into the competition at that age? So I recently competed in a kind of sort of karate MMA type of a tournament over 40, and the main thing for me was just not get injured. um at 60, how do you prepare yourself mentally to go into the competition? I know that it's an age group, so you're gonna have a masters, but I think it's quite a broader range. It's not so narrow margins in BJJ. You've got a quite masters is quite long um
Yeah, I
divisions,
think
isn't it?
exactly. I mean, you could get injured walking down the street. You can get run over.
Mm,
You, you know, you can fall on the ice and get injured. But obviously, with age, you've got to be looking after your own personal health. So you've got to keep active, keep fit, and know when to tap. Sometimes I have to compete in masters, but I have to compete with people 10 or 20 years younger than me, and
Mm,
sometimes heavier than me, just to get a fight.
mhm,
So I go for the experience as well. If you're just there to try and win, 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 then you miss out on the learning.
mm,
So I've lost a number of times. I've won a number of times as well, but always come away thinking, right, great, I had a great match. I learned something new, even though I may have lost. But you can apply that to the next class and
mhm,
keep on developing those skills. So yes, safety is important. Keeping fit and healthy will help to do that, and
mm.
being mobile, having the right
I've
mindset. It's about the
mm,
focus and mindset. So you know when you no longer want to uh, compete if you're not enjoying it. I'm still
mm.
enjoying it and loving it, and we're competing in the Europeans next week as well.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
How's the preparation going for that? Are you going like a special protocols or are you just training as normal?
Yeah, we're training. We've got in Remarts in Bradford. We've got Richard Quirk as well as Craig Tetley, a number of other coaches and instructors that run competition classes, and those who compete or those who are wanting to compete. We have a couple of hours together, and we train with other clubs as well who come along and compete. So it's all part of the preparation. It's all part of the learning experience and just enjoying the journey. You just got to be active. You've got to put your time and effort in, and we'll see what the results come out like.
Mm. Oh, good luck with that. Is that in UK or are you traveling abroad?
We're traveling to Barcelona for this one. Sorry, not Barcelona. To Portugal, um,
Okay.
Lisbon. So there's a team of us traveling up across the to Portugal for that. Both
Hmm.
juniors and seniors will take part in that.
Oh,
Either
amazing.
way, we'll come back with great experiences.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what people I see it in my kids' school. So they're starting with, no losers. Everybody's having a win, and I think people missing the opportunity of learning from the losses. And you cannot win all the time. You have to experience that stress of losing and then convert it in your mind to a lesson instead of a strategy. I think young people now taking everything so dramatically and everything is a huge tragedy. Or I lost that game, I should have won it. And
Yeah,
and people need to learn from that lessons.
yeah. I think you surprisingly you can learn more from your losses than your wins
Mm.
because you're always winning. Then what lessons can you learn?
Yeah,
Obviously, it's nice to win,
mm,
but I think it humbles you. It tests your mettle, tests your ability to rethink ideas and moves that you learn. So by all means, aim for a win, but more importantly, aim to learn. Each
mm,
day is a lesson. Each competition is a lesson, and otherwise you're going to be quite disappointed if you come back thinking that you're losing all the time and not benefiting. You're always
mm,
benefiting. You're always moving forwards, providing you allow yourself to learn in that way.
mm. If you boil down to least amount of words, what are your core values for martial arts, and present it to your students, somebody who comes in, never done martial arts, never done anything, like coming to your dojo, you've got the least amount of words, what will be the expression you would say that describe to them yourself, your dojo? For example, I've been asked that question and I really, really liked it. For me, it would be strong and caring. Um, what would be yours?
That's really good. Definitely in terms of we'd use caring and understanding and developing
Mm,
because the more you understand an individual and about yourself, you're going to develop your skills both physically and mentally and learning. You know,
mhm,
so a couple of those words: learning, there's so many words you can use, obviously respect and all those other
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
But people have to have fun as well. Sometimes it's all about being serious and focused. Where's the fun in it?
Yeah. What are your future projects? Are you working on any more books? I'm guessing from what I heard from you, you're probably working all the time on something.
Yeah, there's
Um,
lots of different ideas. I don't want to share too much about it, but yeah, there's quite a few of the books
mhm,
I'm working on, particularly on some of the detail within the martial arts, whether it's different aspects of each martial art. And I'd like to invite you again as part of that project,
mhm,
and looking at sort of the role of neurodiversity, neurodiversity within our environment as well. So there's quite a few different projects I'm looking at, and just watch this space
mhm.
for different black belt mindset books. I'm also writing children's books with my wife and other projects on life skills. We've written a book about a martial art penguin called
Mhm.
Pengin. Pengin is Japanese for penguin, and how that little penguin has dealt with bullying at school. So bullying is
Interesting.
something that's important as well
Mhm,
for both personal uh, life and for adults or children, but how you deal with that with the right mindset, not just
mhm.
deal with it physically.
Is there all your books are available on Amazon, or you got a website, or where we can find
Well,
your work?
there's most of the books are available on Amazon. However, the book on coping with stress and adversity um, is in Amazon, but however, you can only buy it from studio3.org.
Mhm.
There's Studio 3 is a psychology company, and Professor Andy MacDonald kindly supported the book, and he did the forward for that book on coping with stress and adversity. So you can look in Amazon, or you can look at studio3.org for the one on coping with stress and adversity, inspirational stories.
And people can find you on Facebook, obviously, with Raj Soren.
Facebook, yeah, right, Soren, or LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
I'm on social media quite often as well. So reach out if you want to have a conversation, get an understanding of sharing some best practice, or maybe getting involved with some of my projects and book projects. So get in touch, and look forward to sharing ideas and the love and passion for martial arts to more people.
Brilliant. Uh, Raj Soren, thank you very much for your time, and I'm looking forward to more books from you.
Absolutely. And looking forward to more podcasts, probably with yourself, and maybe sharing them out with you at some point.
Oh, that would be lovely. All right, thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.